Today, my guest is Katelyn Good, a figure skater that participated in World Championship, winning national titles in 2 countries, Canada and Denmark. After retiring from elite sport, she built a led high-performance marketing team, helping scale the company all the way to IPO. Today, Kate is a sought-after mental performance coach, working with top athletes, leader in pharma and even tech, using the same mindset tools and visualization protocols trusted by Olympians. She's mastered the art of thriving under pressure and redefining identity after change. Stay for this inspiring conversation. The champion, the coach, the mom of 3, and the woman rewriting her own story. Today's guest is Kate Good, a former high-level athlete in figure skating that carved her story and her legacy into the ice, and now she's rewriting her story into motherhood. From the height of international and world competition to the quiet and sacred space of reflection and growth, Kate's stories is about resilience, reinvention, and identity. We dive into the pressure of performance, what it means to be more than your sport, and how she found strength in places she was not expecting it. Whether you're an athlete, a parent that's looking for change, a mom that is discovering something about herself because of pregnancy or motherhood, this episode will move you. Let's get started. Kate, welcome to the show.
Hi, Tanya. Thank you for having me.
It's so good to have you here. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. I love sitting across from you like this.
I know.
Cool and different than when you're usually manipulating my body in a way to make me stronger and heal all the ailments that I have.
Yes, thank you. I mean, it's such an honor and a privilege to be able to work with you. You've been helping me so much with mindset, with, growth and everything. And in fact, I would like to start with that. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey from being a world champion to the mom to the career? Can you walk us through what's been the last couple of years for you?
Sure. Well, it has been quite a ride. That is what I will start with. There have been some crazy ups and downs, some just immense highs, and definitely some very challenging lows. But essentially, to talk a little bit about the journey, I am a former world-class athlete. I skated for 18 years, skated in 4 world championships, qualified for the Olympics. Unfortunately, due to some interesting circumstances, didn't actually get to compete, but we can dig into that if you want. Through that, had a very massive injury in my hip, which forced my retirement very abruptly. And I had to really create a brand new identity and figure out what am I going to be in this world once that one was shattered and I was no longer my sport. And I was fortunate enough to find marketing and case competitions, which brought me into the world of marketing. And I then led 4 different marketing teams, one all the way through IPO, and I've just recently started my own business through marketing consulting as well as mental performance coaching for elite athletes and executives, and really focusing actually on kids and how to help them build resilience under pressure. So that's kind of where I am today. And I have 3 kids who are 10, 4, and 1. They keep me very busy, and they are truly just the love and center of my world.
So I know you must hear that a lot, but it feels like you had 5 lives or 10 lives in short, because you're still very young. And so there's so much more to come. And I'm very excited to be front row to see what else is coming for you. But you definitely did a lot. And I think sometimes it's a blessing and a curse in disguise, right? Because what you become really good at, it's something you will use in so many different areas of your life. So as a former athlete, how is your mindset, your habits, and your performance did help in through the motherhood? Because it's kind of the topic that we are in this podcast. But how is this was so helpful and help you thrive? And how was it a challenge and maybe it bites you in the butt a little bit?
So I think being an athlete, it has truly been such a gift and a challenge through both pregnancy and postpartum. On the one hand, the athlete in me who trained to push, to endure, to perform under an immense amount of pressure, it absolutely helped, especially when it came down to discipline, when my body felt so foreign and was like growing in all directions, it felt like. And it gave me resilience when things were not going as planned. And it gave me this deep belief that I could truly handle anything that was sent my way, even if it was in this new evolving body and mind, and really emotionally. And I think that mindset really carried me throughout both pregnancy and the multiple pregnancy, as well as through birth and postpartum. But I would definitely be lying if it didn't come with its challenges. I think as an athlete, you are so wired to have progress in these very visible ways. Like your time is faster, your edges are better, you have cleaner routines. But especially in postpartum, everything is so invisible. The healing is so slow. The rest doesn't feel productive. I'm like, I just want to
do something
more.
And there's so much to do.
And my identity at this like finely tuned high performers version of myself felt like so far out of reach. And so I think there were moments that I felt like I was losing because I didn't have control over that progress and that exact thing that I knew what was going to happen next, or if I did these 3 things, this was going to be the outcome. But I think it really was quite humbling and had to make me reflect and reprogram and see it actually as a new kind of strength, that it wasn't about performance, but it really was about presence and being in this moment right now, even with all this like chaos around me and chaos inside me, like what is happening. So I think that within that mindset, motherhood has really taught me about forgiveness. It has taught me about probably the most important lesson is to listen and to trust my body. That is, I think, the biggest shift that I've had since becoming a mom, and to honor where I am right now instead of constantly trying to reach the next goal. What is my next Olympics? What is the next thing that I'm trying to achieve? And just really look and reflect on like, I just made a human with my body. And that is pretty freaking awesome. And so I think that would be it. So I still believe that I am still the woman, the athlete that I am. I'm just playing on a much more multidimensional field.
Definitely. I often compare, because, my original background is also as an osteopath, as a movement specialist, a bachelor in microbiology, all these, I did the coaching with Harvard. So all these things, it's always planning, structure, what's the next thing. Personally, my husband does mountains, and because of that, I got a lot of people that I put on mountains all around the world, and I put people through triathlon and marathon and Olympics and, these type of things. While not necessarily doing it myself, I still, swim in that kind of environment. And it is so easy to get overwhelmed with the final destination and be like, this is the thing. Right? You reach the summit and that's the end. But is it really the end? Not really. But I've always found that pregnancy is kind of the same, that there's a due date or eventually baby's going to come out, right? So eventually you get your day, that it's the end of it. And then what? Okay, baby's out, and then they give it to you and they're like, okay, go home. And you're like, oh, I didn't train for that. I did all my pelvic floor things. I did all my aqua in the pool, and I did, all these bridges and exercises. And then they give you the baby and you're like, help. I can't train for this. I can't, there's books, but there's nothing for it. And it becomes really difficult and challenging. And it's a bit that idea that we're moving towards this idea of balance. And first of all, how do you describe balance? What does it mean? Like when you hear, because I'm going to put it right there. I'm going to pull the Band-Aid right away. How do you do work-life balance? I know I hate this, but tag, you're it. What does it mean?
So balance with a big question mark. I don't think it exists in the perfect, polished way that people talk about it today. For me, balance truly is about being present where you are right now. So if that's in a meeting, then I'm in this meeting. If that's with my kids and I'm making them breakfast, then I'm making them breakfast. And it's not trying to be in between these two different things and take it and maybe message on a Slack and, oh gosh, you're out of your cereal or breakfast or whatever the thing is, and I got to add more milk. So not scrolling my emails under the dinner table, So I feel like it's less about splitting time evenly, because I think this concept of balance, people always think it's 50-50. Half the time with this, half the time with that. I think it's about being more intentional with the time that you do have. I feel that with motherhood, I've had to get very, very clear on my priorities. So saying no to a lot of things now, knowing that I have these other priorities that right now are more important. And so I think that the other piece of that is that there are seasons in your life. And there will be times when, right now, as an example, I'm really trying to build my business and generate new courses around visualization and raising happy champions and helping parents create the environment for their kids to succeed at the highest levels of sport. And so right now my business needs a lot of my focus. That doesn't mean that my kids don't get my focus, but it means in those hours that I've dedicated and prioritized for that time, that's where my focus is. But then at the hour that I've said, okay, I've set a boundary that from 6 till 8 and 6 until they come to 5 or 5 until they go to bed, that is the time I'm thinking about them, that I'm there for them. I'm listening. I'm down on the floor. I'm having that quality time, and I will get back to the other piece at the other time. And I think that shifts over time. It can shift from day to day, but really just being more intentional about where you are right now and using that as your definition of balance. And I think my definition of success has also changed a lot. I feel like before I had kids, it was all about like the next launch, the next marketing release, the next title, the next milestone. And while I still deeply care about those things, I'm clearly a very ambitious, driven, purpose-focused person. Now it looks a little bit different. It looks like, how do I show up for them in those moments? How do I create a business or create an environment where they see a mom, a woman being her own self and doing the things that she loves, and building confident, kind children. And I think that takes quality time and a lot of intention and a lot of hard work. And that's how I want my daughter, my sons, to look up and say, she built this amazing thing and didn't lose the rest of herself in the wake. And yeah, so I think it's not just about what I'm building anymore. It's about the legacy and the environment and the process of building that kids can look at and learn from and aspire to hopefully be like one day.
Yeah, you just said it so well. And this is something that you taught me that it stayed with me for years now, is that definition of success. You can have a situation and having two people in the same situation, and one is successful and the other one is not, but they're both achieving the same thing. And it all comes with that definition of what does it mean. For example, two mothers could have the same amount of time dedicated to their kids, like a couple of hours here during the week, a couple of hours during the weekend. One will feel very successful and the other one doesn't. And it's based on one belief that more time makes her a better mother. And I'm not saying that either or is right or wrong, okay, here. I'm just saying perception. So one's belief that the more hours she spends, the better mom she is, while the other one believes it's the quality of it. She's having more work to do. Sometimes she has to have help because, you know, she has other things going on for her. But when she's there, she's all in, she's excited, she's creative, and she's present. While the other one, she's always stressed out and she always like trying to find time here and there. And then, as you say, she's under the desk with doing her thing on her phone, and she cannot be present. So it's really the perception, and that is something that you work a lot with your athletes, but also with the people that you work with in your business in general, with that visualization, because it goes beyond the final result, but the path, how did you get there, right? The final vision of the project. Not just finishing the marathon and getting on top of the mountain, is what did you achieve as you were on that journey? Who did you become? And motherhood is not, you become a mother when the baby's born, right? Or, the second you get pregnant, you could, depending on how you see it, but it evolves. And being a mom of a toddler, being a mom of a newborn, being a mom of two, being a mom of a teenager, oh God. I have a pre-teenager now, a tween, he's 10, and God, this is challenging. And you're like, do I miss the sleepless night? No, but maybe. But it all come with challenges, and they're all fun because now he talks back, and I love it because I see myself. I'm like,
Do I say that?
Karma. But sorry, I'm just rambling here. But all these things put together, it's really a way and a path. And the way you decide to show up, the way you said, my markers of success will be the quality. My marker of success will be the way they feel at the end of the day. This is something I'm working really hard on. How do you feel when we're together? Did you feel like they want to read stories. It's not just to hear the stories because mommy make funny voices and because they feel warm and they feel fuzzy. So is it, you need to find what's the thing that is important for you and focus on that and be successful that way. Because first, it's something more attainable, but it's also something that connects and feel real more than just a number. And I love how you get angry with the 50-50 because work is 8 to 10 hours a day, depending on the job, sometimes more, sometimes, there's a contract, so we need to do more. Sometimes there's less, there's a lunch, you need to do more, but it's so much more than just the time, but what you do with it.
I think what I'd add to that is like a tactic or tactically how people can put this into their lives is get really clear on the moments that you want to own. So what are the moments that matter the most to you? Is it bedtime? Is it dinner time? Is it before school? And your partner, and having that conversation with your partner as well, because for them, maybe bath time is the most important moment. That's what they want to create so that when the kids are older, like I had bath time with dad every day. And that was his thing. But maybe for a mom, it's you really enjoy the breakfast and taking them to school. And so I think when the kids were young and they started getting older and going to school and going to daycare, that was something that Patrick and I really were like, okay, what are the pieces? What are the moments that matter to you the most, that you want to own?
What do you enjoy?
Exactly.
Or you want to work on? Or you want to...
I actually love the drop off and pick up because the things that they say in the car are just so hilarious.
Is the best.
And it's like those little moments, it's quality time. And I have so many memories with my mom in the car because we used to drive from Toronto to Montreal or to our cottage up north. And we spent so much time in the car singing Celine Dion at the top of our lungs. But I have so many memories with her in the car and having really important conversations in there. So for me, those moments of drop off and pickup are really, I love them. And so for me, I always make sure that my calendar is blocked around the time that I can do those things on both ends of the day. Patrick loves to do baths. And so just finding the things that matter to you. And as you said, well, how do you want your kids to feel in those moments, right? So that would be something that I'd encourage everyone to think about. Like if you're trying to create the balance that you're looking for, think about the time frames that you want to own, the memories that you want your kids to have with you, and work backwards from those.
Yes. And that's also something you coach very well. And it's to see kind of working backwards towards the goal, right? So sometimes it becomes overwhelming thinking of all the things you need to do. But sometimes the thing that is the most important is how do you want to feel? Who do you want to become, right? You want to be a loving parent. You want to be a patient. That's one of mine. I want to be more patient. I want to be a more patient parent. And it's very hard to just, say, or having the guilt, right? The guilt is so big. Oh, I made that mistake again at this. It's like, okay, but how doing a thing that you love, like the drop off, the bath. I love do the baking cookies. And
I would never ask Peggy for Betty Crocker.
I'm not a baking, no, I am not Betty Crocker. They're very boring. They're
version.
Exactly. But the fun, because for them it's like, oh, can we put chocolate chip in there? I'm like, no. And then they kind of sneak it in there, right?
And then they take a spoonful.
And then they eat the spoonful, and it's like, I have them in the house, so I know they're gonna eat it, right? But that's the thing. But it become that thing, and that helped me become more patient with them because it becomes a hell of a mess, right? There's muffin or cookie dough everywhere, and that's one way for me to bring some of that joy with that type of patience, because when that happened, I'm not getting angry. And if they don't put their damn shoes on and I need to go, then I get really irritated. But if they mess up the kitchen doing cookie, I'm okay with it. So again, it's all perspective. It's all perception, and it's all it's how do you say, it's good for one, but it's not good for the other one. It's like, no. It's how you see it. Because when they're late, I feel like a bad mother. If they don't put their shoes on and don't have matching socks, I feel like I let it go because I couldn't do laundry on time. But if the kitchen is messy, it's fine because they had a good time. It's like, wait, you put so much pressure on yourself, so much. And leading to that pressure leads to guilt and leads to excess of energy in our end. And you became extremely successful in everything you do because you push yourself to the limit. How did you manage not burning out? And I'm pretty sure you hit a wall. How did you reframe? Because we all do. All do.
So I don't try to do it all. I try to do what matters most and do it really well. Because I think this idea that we're supposed to be everywhere, to everything, to everyone, all at once is just not sustainable. Like, I have 3 kids, I run 2 businesses, I have advised multiple clients. And if I tried to do everything perfectly, I would break. And just so I don't. And I think what that comes back to is that ruthless prioritization and really getting very clear on asking yourself, is this essential? Is this aligned with my purpose? Is this just noise? And another one I like to kind of throw in there sometimes, like, is this fun? Like,
Is it fun?
because am I having fun or not? And I think that level of clarity really allows you to show up where you need to, when you need to, and then that is a hard word. Unapologetically, just let go of the rest. And I learned this because I did hit a wall. I think I was trying. My dad always calls it like burning the candle on both ends.
Yeah.
And I have a very hard time doing things half-assed. I am like an all-in type of person.
No,
and so
you're not.
if I try to do like all these things and then I just burn myself working till midnight, getting up at 6 a.m. to train and like trying to be super fit and trying to be all these things at one time. And it doesn't work. And then what happens for me, at least when I know I'm in that zone, is I start to get like back problems. And for me, it's a trigger to say, okay, I need to, one, acknowledge this and stop trying to push through this pain, push through what's happening. And the way that I think about these is what I would call incompletions. And so it actually wasn't a story of motherhood, but it was before motherhood is how I learned this lesson, was that I was in a relationship that I was just so unhappy in. I was at a job that I was also very unhappy in. And I went to the gym like every other day to try to just like forget this and push it away and do my training that I needed to. And I had a barbell with super lightweight, 10 pounds on each side, getting ready for some deadlifts. And I do one pull and my back pops. And I'm like lying on the floor crying. The really hot trainer had to like carry to me. Like,
He's always a nice one. You're like, oh, why you're here?
Oh my gosh. Carry to me, my car.
Carry me outside.
My friend drove me home. Anyways, I found out after like a lot of physio and a lot of tears later, I had fractured an end plate in my back.
Oh God.
And at that time, I had been doing bodybuilding competitions and was like in the best shape of my life. And this was just like a dead halt. Like, okay, we've had enough. You're burning too many things. But what it showed me was, when I really took a lot of time to reflect, is that I had these 2 really big incompletions in my world. Mm-hmm. And when I recognize those, and for me, an incompletion is like a conversation that you need to know you need to have, but you haven't had the courage to do it yet. Mm-hmm. Or just things that are kind of constantly looming there, usually something that has been left unsaid. And when I realized that, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't burn out in the typical description of the word. That was my burn. Like, this is the end. I'm physically going to take you out by hurting your back, right? You're just going to be out for the count. And so why I tell this story is one of 2 reasons. So what I ended up doing was leaving my fiance of 5 years and quitting my job in the same week.
Sure.
And just completely was like, I am so unhappy in every element of my life right now that I need to make a drastic shift. And what happened after that was that, one, I realized that these incompletions are just inhibitors of performance, because I was pushing up against and they were draining so much, leaking so much of my energy, because they were constantly just kind of in the back of my mind. And the 2 is that once you complete these, providence moves. Mm-hmm. And so literally, basically weeks after this happened, I ended up meeting the man that is now my partner and father of my children. I started a new job. Like, everything just fell into place. And I realize that in this time is that, look at your life right now, and are there things that you just haven't completed? And are those the things that are going to lead to, hopefully not, but an injury? Your knee pain kind of flares up every time. Mm-hmm. You feel this resistance against the thing that you're trying to get done. And taking a hard look at, what are those things that I have left incomplete, conversations I have not had that I need to have. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how I learned this, going back to not trying to do it all, but really getting what matters right now. And that was taking care of myself in that moment and listening and being honest and to myself and to those around me. And I feel like that moment really defined now how I approach conversations with my partner, with my kids. We don't leave things left unsaid. And although those are very difficult conversations to have, they need to be had earlier rather than later, and not kind of shying away from those.
Yeah, no, you're so right. And this incompletion, and tell me if I create a good image, it feels a bit like it's a draining hole. It's literally a hole in your energy, in your soul, in your spirit, whatever you want to call it. And this energy is just coming out of you whenever, even if you're not conscious of it, even if you're not thinking about the bad relationship, the bad job, even relationship could be coworkers, friends, family, partners. It can be so many areas in our lives, and that energy is just getting drained. And at the end of the day, you're just burned, and you don't have the oomph anymore, and you don't have the energy to do the things that you're excited about. That book you wanted to write, that song you wanted to write. Like, we have so much more of that creative spirit inside of us, but we don't have the juices because we just spread it on all the little things around. And motherhood is one of the biggest sucker of energy. And it's normal. We have little being that needs us. We have a family, and we have things to do. But it's so easy to lose that energy that is vital for ourselves, to keep that. And this is where it leads to that loss of identity, right? And while at that moment you were not, it led to where you are now, right? So that injury I'm not saying injuries are good, I'm not saying that, but in this case was a blessing in disguise, because it forces you to see things you didn't want to. And doing that introspection, sometimes it's helpful, so life doesn't have to throw you a brick to be like, hey, wake up. Okay, you're not listening? I'm going to ruin your back now. You're going to listen to me. You didn't want to? Okay, now this is going to hurt. And you're like, what's happening to me? Well, it's been telling you for a while, but you were too busy. And sometimes we make ourselves busy. I'm very guilty of that. Creating the noise, I'm too busy to take care of that. Yes, well, it will take care of you if you don't. And that motherhood will definitely take that space. And it's easy to, I don't have time for this because I need to do this, and this, and this. And I think the few questions you ask, is it important? Like, really important? Or you think it's important? Am I enjoying this? Is it a necessity? Like, all of these will really bring that vision closer to what feels right to you. And what do you think about this idea that, because being a motherhood, parenting is so big that people lose. When I see people, I say even parents on both gender, the dad and the mom, sometimes feel that they lost that oomph. Just the word oomph, right? Because it's so much more than just a identity. They lost the spark. They lose the fire, and you didn't lose any fire. In fact, if I feel that you you could just burn towns now. Like, you're just like, can you tell us a little bit more of what do you think about this concept of lost and spark, and how do you come with this? Because you get tired, you get exhausted, you get hungry. We were talking about that on the way here. Like, how do you do it? What's different?
I think before I answer that, I just want to go back to something that I think is really important in this. A lot of those incompletions are actually, especially when you're a new parent, you're parenting with someone while you've maybe known them for years, maybe you haven't, but you're both sometimes becoming parents for the first time, or even the second or third. And I feel like a lot of those incompletions actually revolve around how the two of you are parenting separately and together. And I feel like the partnership piece, or even if you are alone, is so critical to make space to have those conversations of like, oh, I really liked how you talked to Charlotte about that thing that she was struggling with today, and acknowledging the things that are working, but also taking time to be like, when you speak to Ethan this way, I feel like you're putting limiting beliefs in his mind, right? And so something that we've done that's been incredibly helpful, not just for our parenting, not just for like our own sanity, but just for the strength of the relationship. Because for me, at the heart of a family, even the heart of motherhood, like the partnership component, in my world at least, is so critical to keeping the family and myself sane. And so something that we've done is we call them, and I learned this from my parents, the quarterly retreat. And this is taking time every quarter, once a quarter, so every 3 months, to get away for at least one night together. I know that's not possible for everybody, and it doesn't have to be a expensive. It can be like you go to your swap friends' houses or something. Like we like to try to go away for one night in a hotel. It doesn't have to be far away. It could be literally in your city. And just take a moment for the two of you together to recalibrate and re-talk about the things, those incompletions that maybe are in the back of your mind, because nothing can get too far off in one quarter.
Right.
And so it gives yourselves, one, yourself, and two, yourselves together, a place to have those conversations. Because as I said before, sometimes it's, especially if it's something that you're like, it's really bothering me the way that you're communicating with our kids in this way, or addressing them, or whatever the thing is. But it gives you a designated space to know that that one time every quarter, you can sit down and like have space to get rid of those incompletions. And they could be stuff that you're just struggling with alone. They could be time for, maybe your partner too has stuff that he's feeling this lack, this loss of spark, and giving yourselves an opportunity to always know that in that time, you've designated some time for the two of you to talk through those incompletions or things that are happening in your world. And we've found that has been really game changing, both in strengthening and keeping our partnership really strong, but also the way that we parent our kids and being more intentional with how we address them. But to go back to your question, what I would say to a mom who feels like she's just lost her spark, maybe herself, is that you haven't lost it. It's just buried under the weight of everything that you're holding and trying to do.
Yes.
And first of all, I would say feeling like you've lost your spark doesn't mean it's gone. It's a feeling, right? It means that you're showing up every day, and often without recognition, without any sort of reward, without rest, let's be honest, and sometimes even no room to breathe. And I think that losing this is it's not weakness. It is resilience. And I say that because you can't pour from an empty cup. The most radical thing that you can do in those moments is to reclaim some space for yourself. And I think that boundaries are not selfish. They're so critically important, whether that's with yourself or with your kids. And so if you're feeling like you're losing that, it is so important to really try to carve out a small piece of space that is just for you. And that could be either waking up a little bit earlier than you usually do instead of waking up with your kids. Set your alarm 30 minutes before, and maybe you're not even getting out of bed. You're just laying there, staring at the ceiling, focusing on your breathing. Or if meditation or activations or anything like that works for you, that's something that you can do as well. But finding those little moments that you can take back for you and being really clear that boundary needs to be set. And it's that little win, that little piece that you can start building on top of. Because I think that you are allowed to want more. You are allowed to dream bigger, and you're allowed to step back from and into your own ambition, right? You're allowed to say, I can be a fantastic mom. I can give them everything that I have, but I can also want more from me.
Yeah, definitely.
And
Amen to that.
Own that, right? And your spark also doesn't need to look like it did before. It can look very different. And I think that it should evolve. It should, because that is growth. You're growing into someone new. And so I would say that for someone who has lost their spark, acknowledge that one, this is not weakness. You are building resilience. It's a reframe. It's looking at it in a very different way. And then saying, okay, now that I have this awareness of this, I'm going to take 30 minutes. Start there. It doesn't even have to be 30. It could be 5 if that's all you have. And you take that moment and you sit with yourself and you do one thing that you love. Right?
Could be listening music, journaling, writing, drawing.
Yeah. That's something that for me, I really love. I love to paint. I love to draw. And I lost that completely. Like I was like, when do I have time to make a painting? Never gonna happen. And then I realized, okay, what if I just took the time to do this instead of doing the extracurricular? You know what? I'm going to pick him up early, ask grandma to come over. I'm going to go to Omer Dessert, which is like an art store here in Quebec. Okay. I'm going to pick up some paint, and I'm going to book this time in my calendar, whether that's during the workday or not, and do this thing for myself and take this 5 minutes. And then once I started that one, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like, it's like we as women are creators. Like, we have a sense of creation. We have this beautiful gift that we can create life. And when I tap into art, for me, whether that's journaling, whether that's actually painting, or like, it's like my creative juices and everything else just kind of reopens, and I feel so much more grounded and centered, and like I accomplished something for me today. And it wasn't for my kids, it was for me. And so I ended up making this beautiful painting where I bought it's like a big canvas with a picture of a lion, and I love butterflies. They always remind me of my mom. And every time, so for context, she passed away 14 years ago when I was 20. And whenever I'm like needing a sign, there's always a butterfly that comes. And so that's always been for me. And so I ended up ordering these butterflies off the internet from Peru. I had to like rehydrate them and anyways, it was like a huge undertaking, but I was like, this is something that I really want to do for me. And I put it off and I put it off and I put it off. And then I had this moment where I felt like I just lost that creative spark. And I was like, I need this time. I'm going to do this. Mm-hmm. And I think it's also learning that you can rebuild that integrity with yourself, because we so quickly, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. Oh, the kids are more important. Oh, I got to do this thing for her. Oh, I got to do that thing for Thomas. Oh, Ethan needs me to bring more diapers. Oh, okay, I'm going to spend the next minutes ordering swim diapers because we're going on vacation. And it's just like a constant list of stuff that you always have to take care of, right? List. And in those moments, you're like, no, I'm going to take this 10 minutes and I'm going to order this freaking weird butterfly from Peru.
I'll have to rehydrate in my kitchen.
And then it's going to take 2 weeks to rehydrate. So I'm going to do all my other stuff in those 2 weeks. And then I brought this canvas and I set it on my dining room table and I was like, this is my time. And the kids ran around me and they spilled stuff all over the place. And I was like, nope, I can deal with that later. This is my time right now. And so taking that time for you also doesn't have to be like alone in a corner where you're like, this is my space. It can just be doing the thing that you love in the presence of your children, and knowing that when they see you, the curiosity that sparked in my kids, my little one ran downstairs, grabbed her art and stuff. I was like, Mommy, can I have a canvas and paint too? And then I gave her some paint. Mm-hmm. And so it becomes something that you can do and show them that you have these other passions and things that you love. So think about what you want to build, what you want to create, or reclaim, right? Like, what is the thing that you want to do, not for your kids, but for you?
And that's not selfish. It's self-love.
Yeah.
And it comes with so much guilt, because we talked about that before and we hear it everywhere now, but you never win, right? You work too much. You don't work enough. You're spending too much time. You're hugging your children too much. What do you mean they sleep with you? Like, and then there's a safety thing, but we talk about toddler. I don't know about you, but my toddler is like, I wake up every morning and I'm like, when did you come here? Like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm your safe space, But like, there's all that guilt that whatever you do, it's not going to fit for this population. And if you do that, this other group or community will disagree. So there's guilt every time you do something. What do you mean you didn't prepare lunch? Or they probably had dinner later that night because you were painting.
Yep.
I could say, exactly. Or, oh, you were painting with your kids. It was so fun. Oh, wow. They were late. And the house was a complete mess because she was painting. So the same situation, again, with the marker of success could be seen one way or the other. Mm-hmm. But in the end, just do the thing. Just do your thing.
And start small. Because think about your friend who tells you she's going to start a diet every second week. Do you believe her the next time she says it?
No, of course.
No, of course not.
Because there's a track record.
Exactly. And so your brain has been conditioned to the same thing. Because you constantly said, oh, I'm going to start this for me, or oh, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to get up and meditate. I'm going to make my bed, and then you don't do it.
Yeah. And then so you create that.
Exactly.
Your brain is just like, don't worry guys, she's not going to run tomorrow.
Exactly. So you have to rebuild that trust with yourself. Yes. And that's why I say to start small. And it could be like, make your bed every morning. Mm-hmm. Start there.
Yeah.
And have that little moment for yourself where you walk out, you look back in your room, you're like, that looks nice. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. And maybe that's your moment.
That's awesome.
Right. And it starts there. And that's something that it is these small steps that then start to rebuild that trust with yourself, so that when you do want to do those big things, like get back to working out twice a week, 5 times a week, that you believe that when you make that commitment to yourself, that you are going to follow through. Mm-hmm. And even as an athlete, where discipline is really was at the core of why I was so successful as an athlete, I lost that when I had kids, because I was like, oh my God, I'm not working out every day. Like, oh God, and I was like, okay, no, I need to reframe this. And what I can do right now is 3 times.
Right.
And that's great.
And not at 5 a.m.
And not at 5 a.m. because I used to work out every morning before everyone got up, before I did anything. And that just wasn't possible anymore because my kid kept waking up at different times. And so if I woke up at 6, sometimes he'd wake up at 7:30. I'm like, got a great workout. And other days he'd wake up at 6:05. I'm like, damn it. And then you don't do your stuff, right? So I just said, it's okay to not wake up at 5 a.m. morning and do this. But what I am going to do is, I know that she's had her bottle, or she's has this wake window, and I'm going to sit her beside me in a little bouncy thing and do my workout there with her. So you adjust and you adapt, but that grows from building that first little bit of integrity with yourself, that you can still stick to the things you say you're going to do.
And reframe them. And that's so important. And what do you wish you knew before becoming a mom? And that could be from kid number 1 or kid number 3. Like, what is one thing you have learned in the past 10 years that you're like, oh, darn, if I understood that, it would have made myself a little easier? Or while you think about it, I think it's important because we hear all these curses. Sleep now, you'll never sleep again. Enjoy your relationship. Enjoy your relationship because with your partner it's going to fall off. Enjoy your trip because trip like that is never going to happen again. We hear all of these curses, so I want to change these curses. I want to change. I want to create a curse with you now, saying, if you do this, this happen. Positive curse. I don't know how we call that. We need to find a name.
I think I heard. So yes, I heard all of those. But I like to put myself in the mindset that I think I'm the exception. And so for me, I said those might be true for some, but for me, I'm going to make this what I want it to be. And know that when we have children, how do I integrate them into my life, not me integrating into theirs? How do we become a new unit? How do we create new things that work for both of us and for all of us? And so I think what I would say, this is actually a very tough question. I think that I'm going to walk this back and then get there. The thing that I wish I knew before was to trust my body. Listen to your body. It knows what to do. It is built to birth. You are physically meant to do this. And that we are far more powerful than you could ever imagine. And I think that was probably my biggest learning after my first birth was very traumatic. My second was thanks to you.
You did it. I just give some tools.
All the tools. But truly, like, it was exactly how I had visualized it. It was everything that I wanted it to be. And after that moment, when he was born, it almost brings tears to my eyes because I had never loved my body so much after that moment. And I say that because, so that would be the thing that I wish someone told me, was that you are so immensely powerful and you are built to do this, and trust your body because it knows what to do, and your baby also knows what to do. And you are a team and you are a unit and you will always be connected. And for me, I think that's something that I don't know if someone could have told me that before. I think you almost have to feel that and learn that and experience it. But I do wish for my first birth that someone had told me that. And to prepare also, This is like one of the largest traumas your body will go through.
It's a lot in a very short period of time.
And you don't expect to go on a almost year-long road trip without checking your engine first. Really take the time to prepare your body and your mind for birth. And I feel like that is what I did so differently for my second, because the first I was like, oh, I'm an athlete. I'm so strong. I can do this. This is going to be, but it's so different than anything I'd ever done. And it truly is a marriage of your mind and your body, and preparing for this intense demand that you're asking it to do, which is to birth a human out of your vagina. It's
That
like,
you created,
what?
that you build. It's like
Just,
build a
also
bear.
just like freaking crazy if you really think about it. But anyways, like I built your eyeballs. Like, wow.
I know, it's crazy. And they're so cute.
I know.
My kids have lashes and I'm like, where did that come from?
Yeah. Can I get some?
They're so long.
So I think that would definitely be what I would have wished someone was to told me. So it was one, like, take time to prepare, both mentally and physically. Those preparation months before are crucial to achieving the birth that you want and having that positive birth experience that you're looking for.
Because that's the curse we're working on right now.
Totally.
You're cursed to hurt, to just have hearing. You can have it good. It doesn't have to be traumatic.
Yep.
It could be beautiful, empowering. You could feel ecstatic, proud of yourself. Like I saw your tears and I got some too. And it was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Like you can get these emotions and they come from you. Nobody put this on you besides you. You generate this emotion because you did the work. And I think this is one of the best, most beautiful lesson is that we are told, because we have so many horror story, because we don't know anything else. So we show up unprepared and then, you're unprepared, you get a unprepared situation and it doesn't go the way you want. And sometimes it escalates and you get disappointed and, whatever the situation, physically or mentally. But knowing from the get-go that you got this, you're literally built for this. And with some tools, depending of every situation is different. You need different tools. That's fine. But you can do hard things and you can do many hard things. And that's awesome. So don't listen to what other people have to say if it's not positive and create your vision.
I love that. And I think that one of the ways that I did that was through visualization. And this is a big part of what I teach today is how do you use visualization? Because your mind cannot tell the difference between what is imagined and what is physically happening. And so there have been multiple studies that have proven, one of the ones was with these basketball players who were divided into 3 groups. The first one, they shot free throws, right? They improved their accuracy by 24% over the course of I think it was 6 weeks period. The second group, they never held a basketball. They only visualized seeing the basketball, free throwing, and it going in the net. And the third group did nothing. Can you guess how much the second group improved their accuracy by?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that the second group must have, because I understand these studies, right? So I would say that it was pretty much either the same or a few percent under.
Exactly. 23%.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So that just shows you that you have the ability to see and create and do the mental reps to get the thing that you want. And so for me, for my second birth, I really focused on the mental preparation. And what happened was when I was starting to see and try to see it, I kept seeing this like black. Couldn't see anything.
Like a black curtain, like a hole. You couldn't
I could
go
see
there.
myself going into labor, taking the car ride there. But when it came to the birth, couldn't see it. I'm like, I think there's something here, maybe some fear, some emotion there that I just haven't dealt with. And so, I'm like, I need to go back to the tools that I teach my athletes.
That sounds like an incompletion.
Exactly. It totally was. And for me, I was like, okay, what is happening here? There's some deep, deep fear. And for me, that fear was having to go to an emergency C-section and having to go through that hemorrhaging again and my uterus being taken out of my body and stitched. Like it was a lovely time.
It was a lot.
And so what I did was I decided that how do I do this with the athletes? We write the script. And so I took out my journal and I wrote down exactly word for word what I wanted to have happen. And it wasn't just the steps, it was the feeling that I wanted to have. It was what were the smells? What was I seeing? Who was beside me? What was I saying? It was the entire script of exactly what I wanted to have happen. And then the other piece of it was actually watching people do the skill that I wanted to achieve, which for me was having an unmedicated natural birth. And so I went on YouTube and literally watched birth videos because for me, that was helping me envision what was actually going to happen for me this time.
When you see a vision that gives you that happy feeling, you see like it's a home birth for example, because there's a little bit more accessible and popular. And when you see the ecstatic feeling, I caught myself laughing with her, like being so excited. And I'm like, I don't even know her.
Oh my gosh, I was like crying.
Right, exactly. So you imprint your nervous system with this. And because you said something that I think is so important, and I just want to put a little bit emphasis on that, is visualization goes beyond just seeing yourself. Again, coming back to the story of going on the mountain, you just don't close your eyes and you see yourself on top of Everest, like, yeah. It's so much more than that. You need to see yourself putting the clock at 6, let's say this is your part of your training, waking up at 5 a.m. What do you need to eat? What do you need to do? What type of gear, right? So the same thing with birth. You need to see all of the steps, but you need to feel them, because then you create an imprint in your nervous system. And what's the best way for an athlete, a dancer, or even somebody who's sing to get better is the repetition.
Exactly.
And the rehearsal.
And this allows you to repeat it
and
so
then you
many
rehearse.
times before.
You rehearse through that visualization. You can even call it meditation, because I mean, there's a lot of similarity. I think we play with words here, depending of what school of thoughts you're going. But to be able to rehearse the experience that you want will make you more successful at it, because you've been doing it 500 times. You went to the hospital, because I remember you called me right after. You called me a little too early, in fact. I was like, what time baby was born? Why? It's 5 minutes? Like, what did you call me? But like the excitement, you gave birth to your little one like 500 times. Yeah. So when you showed up, you're just like, I know what to do. I did it. And there's no fear, there's confidence. And if things come your way with challenges, you're like, it's okay. I can take the challenge because I know I'm good.
And I know how my body is going to respond to it.
And I know how my body responds.
A piece of that was visualizing and knowing, if they say, okay, we got to go to C-section, what was going to be my reaction? What were the questions that I was going to ask in that moment? And that's why I worked a lot with you, because that was my trigger. Your fluid is low. We're going to go to C-section. And I said, and I asked you, I'm like, what are the questions that I can ask that isn't the only way, right? Mm-hmm. And how do you take control of those moments? And so I knew my answers before. My body had already had the adversity tolerance to that moment before it ever even happened. And then it didn't happen, because I trained for it. And so every night before I went to bed, and I used music as another trigger that was really important for me. And I listened to that same music that I knew I wanted to listen to as I gave birth. And I visualized the entire thing every night before I went to bed for almost a month before I gave birth. And it was almost to a T what I had written. Right. And this is like the power of preparation for these very important moments. And this then applies to motherhood, to leading a business, to whatever the thing is that you're trying to achieve. This is a tool that really, if you are not using it, you are missing out on one of like your built-in performance enhancers. And it truly is, it sounds so cliche to say this, but it truly is life-changing, this tool. And I use it for like parking.
I know, right? Everything.
The smallest things in life now. And like you, as you start to use it, it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be a couple minutes where you just see it in your mind. This is the thing that I want. And for you as a mom, maybe it's that what you want to see is your 2 kids getting along, or you learning how to be more patient and not raise your voice in a high stakes situation with your kids.
So what you mean is that you can rehearse that. Rehearse seeing yourself in a chaos and taking that breath. Exactly. And you just rehearse that. So when it happens, you actually do it.
Exactly. It could also be like, okay, I know that in a situation where I feel like I'm going to raise my voice, what's the sentence that I want to ask instead? What's happening here? What's really underneath this? What is the feeling that I'm feeling right now? And how do I take a breath and then redirect in the way that I want? And so you can see yourself responding to those high pressure moments, or high, oh my God, I just want
to. Because how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yes.
So it's the little things that lead to the big things. So we're coming to an end. I would like to ask you one more question. And based on everything we just talked about, so we have a mom that listened to this and says, you know what, this is great. It makes a lot of sense. Let's do it. Let's go. What would be, you think, the first easy step, the first base that she could reach or aim for? What's the thing that she could start doing like now or tomorrow?
So I think the first thing that I would tell her is take a breath. And I know everyone's like, take a breath, but truly it is what will recenter you, ground you in the moment, and allow you to then take that next step really with intention. And the second thing that I would say is, I know we talked a little bit about taking that small moment for yourself. But how to do that in the moment is actually reframing these moments that you have. And so an example of this for me was my little 1-year-old. He went through kind of a sleep regression at 18 months old, and he kept waking up in the middle of the night. And that's really detrimental to your sleep for weeks on end, right? But instead of like being frustrated that I have to get up again and make a bottle and go downstairs, I looked down at him and I saw his little face, and I was like, you are not going to need me to rock you back to sleep for very much longer. And how do I just look at this moment and be like, maybe this is the last time that I wake up in the moment and get to feed you a bottle in my arms, right? And not in the sense that he's gone, but in the sense that this moment in time that he's this little and having this challenge sleeping. And so I would challenge you, moms, to look at those moments that are really hard and challenging, and how do you reframe it? How do you look at it a little differently? How do you see it? Maybe this is the last time that she's going to pull on my leg and interrupt my meeting, and that'll be the last time that I have her cute little face interrupt my meeting, and that she gets to say hello to my clients, right? And so in those moments when you just want to kind of like, oh my gosh, what is happening? Look at it and be like, maybe this is the last one. And it's just a small reframe, and that helps you look at each moment a little bit differently. And as you start to retrain your mind to look for those opportunities, those areas for growth, to open your heart, I feel like that can be a big shift.
Yeah, it's so well said. And it makes a world of difference to see things differently. And the way it rewires our nervous system will make a big difference on how we will come out ourselves in this world, how we're going to show up to them, and how we're going to influence them. So it's all start from within. And you just said it so well. So I want to say thank you. Thank you for being part of this today. Thank you for sharing your message with all the moms that are working so hard, that are so, creating for themselves and for the life, and they're supporting so much. There's so much pressure on their shoulder, but, they're holding on and they're moving, and you're part of the solution because, you're showing the way, and because of your career and just the way you're teaching and helping people in your community and around you. I want to say thank you.
Well, thank you, Tanya, for having me. And I do need to acknowledge you as part of my journey. I couldn't have had the joy that I had during my second pregnancy. I couldn't have achieved the birth that I wanted without your support, your friendship, and what you teach. You truly know the body better than anyone I have ever met. And I have met a lot of very elite level osteo, physio, chiro, all the O's. And you truly know the body and know women better than anyone I've ever met. So thank you for always being in my corner. Thank you for what you're bringing to moms everywhere, because we truly, truly need you.
No, thank you so much. It was an honor. Thank you.
It is It is
like, that was just so good, and I'm like, no.
Okay. Surviving above, what is it? Surviving above water.
Yeah, surviving above water.
Oh my God, all the weird hand things I'm doing this time are gonna be really hilarious for a video. Oh my God, a whole blooper reel.
Stick to the script.
Find an outlet. Sorry, do you want me to say that? I don't know if the beeps. I don't know why this is beeping. It's supposed to be on. What the heck is that? Finding an outlet for you. Oh my God, what the fuck is this?
Just close it.
That is so bizarre.
Right, this of trying something. Maybe you need to take this. Is it Patrick?
Yeah. Hey, honey.
Hey, how you doing?
She's literally asking the wrap-up question, and then we're on our way.
Okay.
Oh, do we get this? I hope you enjoyed this episode and that it inspired you on your motherhood and womanhood journey. Make sure to check out the show notes to learn more about today's guest. Don't forget to subscribe, and please share in the comment what resonated with you, and pass this episode to a friend or family so we can grow our village together. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and keep rewiring yourself into the woman you know you're meant to become.